my friends, welcome back. We finished verse 1 of Psalm 19. Now we're in verses 2 through 4. Let's see. Can you read 2 through 4 for us, Mike?
Yeah. Day to day pours out speech, and night to night reveals knowledge. There is no speech, nor are there words whose voice is not heard. Their voice goes out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them he has set a tent for the sun.
Very nice. So we see a double illumination in both the natural and supernatural sense. The material speaks of the immaterial, not with audible words, right? There is speech. So the creation, it's not like creation is saying, hey, God's here and this is who he is. But nonetheless, there is a true speech to the soul. And as men and women, because we're spiritual, right? According to Paul's understanding of the person, we have three parts. We have the spiritual, we have our soul, and we have our bodies, the material. Animals have souls and bodies, and things like a plant. But plants also have some sort of a bios to them. Mm-hmm. They don't have like a soul like an animal. And then, of course, there's rocks. It's just strictly material, the hierarchy of being, if you will. And the spirit, let's call us a spirit man. That seems a popular term right at the moment. Mm-hmm. Resonates with that spiritual element that we perceive in creation. That's really what's being stirred up in us. Mm. With interior gaze, man can discover God. So as the ancient sage says, from the greatness, so this is from wisdom, and that would be, my opinion, Solomon wrote it. From the greatness and beauty of created things, the original author is seen by analogy. Or St. Paul, from Romans 1:20, he reminds the Romans that ever since the creation of the world, God's, invisible perfections can be perceived with the intellect. Within the spirit of merit, right? We have intellect and free will. That's within our spiritual wheelhouse that have been made by him. Yeah, you went up to 5. So that interior gaze or that invisible perfections perceived, we can know that. Then we have verse 5.
Yeah, which makes me think of Jesus.
Which makes us think of Jesus. Very good. Yes. The sun is compared to the bridegroom. And of course, our Christ is our bridegroom. And leaving the marital chamber at night. Oh, you're going to like this because the Byzantines really picked this up very much in their Easter liturgy. As an athlete ready to run her course, the Byzantine liturgy brings these thoughts in an exalted manner into her Eastern liturgy. So you are right. He saw Jesus, and so did the Byzantines. Mm. And I will, I'll read it, and I'll cite where I'm getting it from. The solar imagery of the psalm is taken up by the Christian liturgy of Easter to describe Christ's triumphant exodus from the dark tomb and his entry into the fullness of the new life of the resurrection. At Matins for Holy Saturday, the Byzantine liturgy sings, "As the sun rises after the night in the dazzling brightness of renewed light, so you also, O Word, will shine with new brightness when after death you leave your nuptial bed." An ode, that's the first of Matins for Easter, links the cosmic revelation with the Easter event of Christ. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exult with them, because the whole universe, visible and invisible, takes part in the feast. Christ, our everlasting joy, is risen. And another ode, the third, adds, today the whole universe, heaven, earth, and abyss, is full of light, and the entire creation sings the resurrection of Christ, our strength and our joy. And finally, another, the fourth, concludes, Christ our Passover is risen from the tomb, like a sun of justice shining upon all of us with the splendor of his charity. And John Paul II, that of course he's with the Roman Rite, is where I found his gaze onto this. He had one of his audiences back in 2002, and he had a commentary, a small one here on Psalms, and he did exactly what you did. He pivoted, that's exactly Christ, and he thought the Byzantines, rightly so, gave a good voice to it.
And I love too that it's related to that solar imagery, because it's like this idea of resurrection, and that every single day is a reminder of the endless resurrection we're invited into. And
Yes.
and the fact, it's so cool too, thinking about when the sun goes down here, it's rising somewhere else. And so there never is a moment without light, and it's just kind of the universal nature of it all, and how it's all connected in this cosmic Christ. I think it's so beautiful.
That's right. That's right. But then we have a change in David's meditation. It's one thing to observe facts and data from our reasons and minds. So that's what we're doing when we look at creation, right? We're taking in data and facts and material. But he now changes to that. We need to now do something with it. He transitions the response of the observer to the keeping of the law or the Torah. So, because that's where we need to get to. So he's going to go from the material to the immaterial, which is the morality, if you will, the Torah, and then man's response. And all these ways bring relationship with God and joy. So the finding gold, dripping in sweet honey. Mm-hmm. And I said, but wait, there's more. Aside from this wonderful experience with God, we also get a warning against avoiding evil and sorrow in our lives. Mm-hmm. And it's hard not to notice that a lot of people blame our dear Lord for a lot of misery and sorrow, when it's really a result of poor choices on the poor people most of the time. It is, hurricanes or diseases are one thing, but when you start to look around, a lot of what we have in this country is caused by greed, illegal behavior, on and on it goes. So, So the psalm was saying we have a great reward in keeping them. So he's kind of giving us a little, the carrot on the stick. Keep them, and not only do you get the Lord, but you also have a happier life here. Right? Thy kingdom come.
More fullness.
That's right. All right, my friends. We'll pick up in the next episode. Till then, Fides Ratio.